young, intelligent man pursuing a career in theoretical physics at the Northwestern University in United States was one day listening to the radio, and while changing the channels on the radio, he came across a very powerful metallic voice that was singing a chant, and instantly, to his surprise, he was attracted. That was the voice of Srila Prabhupada chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Soon after this, he met his spiritual master, his eternal father, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his spiritual master, and to spread the message of Krishna consciousness, to transform the lives of thousands of people. A very young, intelligent man named Bruce Jacobs assumed his real identity in the form of His Holiness bkgoswami Goswami Maharaj.
I wasn't a sannyasi in the beginning. I was Bir Krishna Brahmachari.
Sorry, Maharaj. So, Surdas Maharaj, who's a very popular devotee of Lord Krishna, in one of his very beautiful songs, he has written that water flows into the ocean from the rivers and from the gutters, but the ocean is so magnanimous, it is so vast, that it does not discriminate between clean water and between abominable water. Similarly, our Gurudev is like that very magnanimous ocean. He does not discriminate between someone being very pious or someone being very sinful. It is also said in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Brahmane Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhaktirata Beach, that after wandering for millions of lifetimes in the universe, after transmigrating from one species to another, one very rare fortunate soul gets the opportunity to receive the seed of the creeper of devotional service by the mercy of Krishna and by the mercy of the spiritual master. And today, Gurudev has come here to give that same opportunity to all these fortunate souls by conducting the sacred ceremony of Harinam Diksha, or as we call it, initiation. So I would like to request everyone, let us open up our hearts in deep gratitude and receive the blessings of His Holiness bkgoswami Krishna Goswami Maharaj with great enthusiasm and reverence. Hari Hari Bol!
So, what happens now? Did you? Good to see you. Did you finish with all the Achman and everything like? So I guess it's time for my speech. All right. Thank you for the nice introduction. I mean, as King Prithu said to the reciters, you know the story of the Bhagavatam, when they were glorifying him before he did anything glorious. You know what I'm talking about. He said, first you have to let someone do something glorious before. But anyway, I appreciate that. And it was actually very, very precise, educated from the heart. Anyway, it was nice. It was nice, and somehow or other, I hope I can live up to that standard. You set a very high bar. It's like someone who is going to enter the Olympics and you say he's already won. He's already won the gold medal. So, anyway, Om Ganat Miranda Shah Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshu Unmeritam Yena Tasmai Shigana Vedamaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and by the mercy of my spiritual master, he opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge, gave me Krishna consciousness. And what you just heard is true, that I received the Bhakti Lata Bij, not when I took initiation, but actually when I heard Prabhupada chanting on the radio. Ramanda Ramate Kom Bhagwan Jeev Guru Krishna. And so all of you have the opportunity to receive that Bhakti Lata Bija from Srila Prabhupada. Of course, I'm also giving the initiation. But Srila Prabhupada, by his mercy, we're here. Without Srila Prabhupada's mercy, none of us would be here. I might be an engineer. I might be in Australia working for some company right now as an engineer. I don't know what I would be doing. Designing your new nuclear power plant, probably, that everyone's opposed to. Because that's what I was studying, nuclear engineering. So, and you would all not like me because of that. But by Prabhupada's mercy, I stopped doing that. And now I am in Krishna engineering. So Prabhupada has told us, or instructed, how to engineer the souls to the ultimate spiritual destination, which is going back to Godhead. And it's quite different from nuclear power plants because there's no nuclear garbage to throw away. The soul actually becomes purified. So, with nuclear power plants, I wasn't planning this lecture, but with nuclear power, you have so much, radioactive material, and things become more and more impure. But with Krishna consciousness, things become more pure. So how do we attain purity? And even a deeper question, why do we want to become pure? First, let's talk about why do we want to become pure. Well, the reason we want to become pure is because we want to be happy. We want to love Krishna, which is our constitutional nature, and it's the only way we can be happy, just like Prabhupada explained, very simple example. Like a fish outside of the water cannot be happy outside of the water, no matter what you give the fish. So in the same way, we cannot be happy unless we're in our constitutional position. And in our constitutional position of pure Krishna consciousness, we don't worry about whether we're happy or not. Which is like, we call that a catch-22. That if you keep worrying about whether you're happy, you're not going to be Krishna conscious. But if you're worrying about what? If Krishna is happy, then you become happy. So as long as you're concerned with yourself, self-centered, you won't be happy. So how do we get to the point? So that's the reason for becoming Krishna conscious, because we want to be happy. And we want to come to the point of not wanting to be happy. Sounds funny, doesn't it? We want to become happy, and I'll just reiterate, and in order to become happy, we have to give up the desire to become happy and simply think of Krishna's pleasure. So, how do we do that? This is the process of Bhakti Yoga that's given to us by the Acharyas. But before I start talking about the process of Bhakti Yoga, I'm going to talk about something called sub-religious principles. We were talking about this in the car on the way here. Because many devotees think they can become happy without becoming ethical or moral first. Now, of course, being ethical and moral will not bring you to Krishna consciousness, but it is necessary. For those who study logic, there's two things. There's necessary things and sufficient things. Got it? Two different things. Necessary means in order, I'll give you an example. In order to build a house, it's necessary to have a foundation, right? What happens if you don't have a foundation? Yeah, the house just collapses. You start erecting the walls, boom, it collapses. So the foundation of Krishna consciousness is your morality and ethical principles. And I'm stressing that because I've seen many times before, I've observed devotees who think they are very spiritual and they neglect moral and ethical principles. Very, very important. We're sometimes too spiritual for our own good. So moral and ethical principles means like telling the truth, being honest, being kind, isn't it? Compassionate. These are moral and ethical. But I can go through a whole list of these moral and ethical principles. If there's any incense burning, maybe you could put it somewhere else, because I do have trouble breathing with incense. Anyway, it's hard being a Hare Krishna devotee and having trouble with incense, but anyway, it's part of our life. So, anyway, so that's our foundation. So therefore, who do we learn moral and ethical principles from? Anybody have an idea? Lord Ram. Not Krishna. We don't want to dance around with a lot of girls, which Krishna does. Krishna even takes intoxication. Did you know that? Honey wine, not the stuff you have here in Australia. There's stories in the Acharyas where Krishna and the gopis, they're taking this honey wine, and Krishna gets so intoxicated that they pour the wine into the wrong side of the glass, and it goes all over the place. So that's Krishna. You got intoxication. Well, it's not illicit sex with Krishna, but you look at his example. Don't follow Krishna's example. The battlefield of Kurukshetra, he's very tricky. Isn't it? Steals butter, don't steal butter, don't play tricks like that. But what about Lord Ram? Lord Ram, one word, one wife. Remember that, all of you. You got two options, one wife or no wife. Right? As it you all. Of course, one husband or no husband. So, and one arrow. What is that? In other words, you stick to your promises, you stick to your vows, unbroken in every single circumstance. So, unfortunately, we do find devotees who follow Krishna's example and worship Ram. The opposite, isn't it? That's very unfortunate, especially in a country that some of you may be familiar with, Fiji. Isn't it? Because if you go in Fiji, I'm going to just tell you what happens. You go to some of the Ram Mandalis, right after they recite Lord Ram's pastimes, there's this thing called kava, which is an intoxication, and that's part of the ceremony. So that's not what we want to do. So, joking aside, we should be very ethical. Actually, Prabhupada would often quote from Shakespeare and say, Caesar's wife should be above suspicion. What does that mean? That we are entering into the Krishna consciousness movement. We are going to be seen, or are being seen, by society at large as representatives of the Krishna consciousness movement. And if any one of you, does something that's unethical, illegal, besides speeding, which I've done. Anyway, but that's the one thing you can get away with. So, sorry. Unethical, immoral, illegal, it will reflect upon the whole movement. That's right. I don't need water. Is that what you're getting? It will reflect upon the whole Krishna consciousness movement. And sometimes you'll see, if some devotee does something wrong, it'll be in the newspaper. Hare Krishna devotee does such and such. So remember, ethical principle, your foundation. Not going to get you Krishna conscious, but it's a necessary ingredient to become Krishna consciousness. So now, the next step is called sadhana bhakti. And the first part of sadhana bhakti, which many of you are embarking upon, is called Vaidhi Bhakti. So Vaidhi Bhakti means to practice according to different rules and regulations. And what are the rules and regulations? Of course, first initiation, you're promising to chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 regulative principles. But not only that, you're also promising or trying your best to avoid the 10 offenses, which we're going to mention very briefly, since most of you are familiar with them. Our first offense is to blaspheme or offend the devotees of the Lord who dedicated their lives to propagating the holy name of the Lord. And that means we respect people of every religion if they are glorifying God and serving God. Very, very important. And of course, Srila Prabhupada would never criticize another religion, but he would sometimes criticize how they're following. Like when he spoke to members of a certain religion, we're not going to mention specific religions, he would say, it says in your religion, thou shalt not kill, and you're killing. So Prabhupada would deal with subject matters like that, but he would never criticize the founder or a particular religion. So we have to be very careful in dealing with those who are on the religious path of any religion or spiritual path. So, second offense is consider the names of the demigods. Some of you were subjected to this. I know. To demigods, the names or personalities of demigods to be equal to or independent of the holy name of the Lord. Demigods are real. Sometimes people have, in the Western world, they have problems. We don't believe in demigods, they say. But demigods are real. They are God's cabinet. They work for God. And so we respect them. We don't disrespect them. But we don't consider them equal to or independent. Very important. And if you're going to have any demigods on your altar, put them at a lower level. Oops. Okay. Put them on a lower level and offer them the remnants of Vishnu or Krishna Prasad. Just like in Bhuvaneshwara, they take Lord Jagannath's Prasad from Jagannath Puri and bring it to Lord Shiva in Bhuvaneshwara. And Lord Shiva is very happy. He's Param Vaishnava. So they're Vaishnavas. They're serving the Lord. Next offense is to disobey the order of the spiritual master. And of course, that doesn't mean we follow blindly. We are supposed to have the ability to question. We have these checks and balances in Krishna consciousness called Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. 3 of them. So you can check things. That's why a bona fide spiritual master will always speak on the basis of Shastra when he is speaking about Krishna or the philosophy. So Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. If someone says something, you have the right to say, where does it say that in Shastra? Of course, one has to be careful about shopping for a second opinion. Guru Maharaj says, well, I think you should go preach here. Can I get a second opinion? It's like a doctor. The doctor says, I think you need a new liver. Can I get a second opinion? So that is you got to be very careful about that. Second opinion. But you have a right to ask, where does that come from in Shastra? Very, very important. So the Guru has to be an acharya. Acharya means acting according to Shastra, speaking according to Shastra. So the next offense is to blaspheme the Vedic literatures or any literatures which are in concordance with the Vedic literature. Very, very important. Next offense is to think the glories of chanting on Hare Krishna, Namachintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purnishuddha Nityamukto Vinatvam Navanam. No, Krishna is not different from his holy name. The name is Chintamani. Next offense is to give some crazy perverted interpretation about the holy name of the Lord. The actual meaning of the name Krishna is given by the acharyas. Krish means to attract. Na means to give you Ananda, and also to negate the material existence, material suffering. So, Krishna, and of course, Hare is praying to Radharani. Oh, energy of the Lord in evocative form, please let me serve Krishna and you. You're begging. So we chant with that mood. When we say Hare, we should remember what we're doing. Both Krishna and Hare and Radha are in the evocative form in Ram too. And Ram, of course, means, as those of you from Fiji, Lord Ram. And for the rest of us, it's Lord Ram, Balaram, and Radharaman. So just think how wonderful this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is. When you chant it, you actually are in personal contact with Lord Ram, Balaram, who's the original guru, Radharaman, Radharani. Oh my God. You are so fortunate. We're all so fortunate. Think like that. Then you'll be attentive. Actually, another point that came out. This morning I was chanting my japa and I was thinking, what suggestions can I give to people to be attentive? Actually, I was going to talk about the offenses first. But anyway, this just came to my mind. I was thinking, when we chant, we use what? Tulsi Mala. So, I tried that this morning. I didn't just try chanting on Tulsi Mala, I always do. But I tried really being attentive not only to the sound of the vibration, but the feel of the Tulsi Mala and the consciousness. You know, some people think you could just chant on clickers. You know clickers? Click, click. Now they have electronic clickers. Dee, 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 dee. And some people want to chant, they play Prabhupada chanting and they just move their beads. I got to ask that question. You know, said Prabhupada chants 5-minute rounds, you know. So anyway, I was thinking, if you actually, I felt that, you know, the potency of touching Tulsi Devi. I mean, we don't realize not only how fortunate we are in chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but be able to have what the association devotees and be able to touch a pure devotee while we're chanting. So as soon as I did that, oh my God, then I wouldn't say Krishna appeared before me and started dancing. I'm not going to say that, but you know, I felt the difference. So that's a little hint in chanting. So anyway, continuing with the offenses. So the next offense is to commit sinful activities. We understand by chanting, even Namabas chanting, all the sins are dissipated. Previous sins are dissipated. Parabdha, the Kuta, Bija, everything is just dissipated. But you should not, again, perform sinful activities. Why does one perform sinful activities? Very easy to understand. One performs sinful activities because, two reasons. One, commits offenses against Vaishnavas, loses the taste. Two, one takes up bad association. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stated, when he was asked about the qualities of a Vaishnava, he said, what? A satsanga chag, a Vaishnava char. You avoid bad association. Prabhupada's version of bad association was not just like Ravan, you know, don't hang around with Ravan, but Prabhupada's version was actually quite strict. Eating food but cooked by non-devotees, Prabhupada considered, isn't it? Bad association. Prabhupada even one time said, devotees don't read the newspaper. I'm okay with that because I have the internet now. No. But anyway, so in other words, we avoid Gramya Kata. Gramya Kata means ordinary village talk. And now that the news is so bad every day that we're automatically avoiding it rather than being traumatized, especially in the country that I come from. Is there a tissue? I got a tissue. So anyway, so we avoid bad association because bad association makes the mind wicked. Prabhupada explained, Prabhupada is that that's Grama, Dronacharya, and Kripacharya, they took the wrong side in the Battle of Kurukshetra because they had the food from Duryodhana's kitchen. Duryodhana didn't cook himself, but I'm sure he had some pretty bad people cook. So if you eat food cooked in Duryodhana's kitchen and mundane restaurants, if you think, go to the restaurant, oh yeah, it's vegetarian. Maybe Duryodhana's cook is in the kitchen there. Or someone worse. Isn't it? Or Ravana's cook. So therefore, you're careful what you eat, you're careful what you listen to, music you listen to. Hear kirtans chanted by devotees, you're really careful about that. Because even if you hear a Krishna Katha from someone who is not following the practice of Krishna Katha, guess what happens? Sarpa chista, yatapaya. Your mind can become wicked. Now you may think, boy, he's being really strict with us, I need a more liberal guru than this. Maybe I'm in the wrong fire sacrifice. But, so the point is, if you really want to become Krishna conscious, you want a slow boat to China. You've heard that expression before. And if you want to keep, the anchor in and try to get somewhere, like the story that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said, or quoted, then, you don't have to follow so strictly. It's all right, it's up to you. It's not going to change me. But you have a choice. You either go slow or fast, or you can be the, Mohunam Janmanamante Ganavamam Prabhajate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sadrulabha. After many, many births, millions and millions of births, then we'll see you in the spiritual world. As they say, we'll see you later. A lot later. A lot later, 10 million births, So it's up to you. It's all up to you. I'm just telling you how to go fast. But you can still be a devotee and go very slow. That's okay. I have no objection. But this is my advice. So, anyway, next offense, getting on with the 10 offenses, is to think that the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is some ritual. It is the very principle of Krishna consciousness, the essence of Krishna consciousness. It is not a ritual like you have karma kanja rituals, of course. And we have a few rituals in Krishna consciousness, like the way we dress, which is nice. I'm not decrying dhotis. I'm wearing a dhoti. And, I like tilak. And I like the holy places. But the chanting of Hare Krishna, you don't even compare it to all the holy places. It's incomparably greater than all the holy places. I have some disciples who get in a really old car and they tour all the holy places, risking their life, right? Leaving their poor husband behind. No, it's a devotee right here. So anyway, which is all right. We love to go to the holy places, Ayodhya and Varjana and everywhere. But the chanting is more powerful than even the holy places. The holy places are not a ritual, but the chanting, there's nothing as powerful as the chanting. The name of Ram is, in one sense, if you read the Ramayana, is more powerful than Ram. It helped Hanuman defend himself against Ram, isn't it? So we have this most powerful thing. It's better than nuclear energy again. You could power all of Australia with the name of Ram. Here you go. So, anyway, the next offense is to preach the glories of the Lord to the faithless. I'm going to unpack that a little bit. when we preach to everybody. It's not that we don't preach to the faithless or we don't share Krishna consciousness with the faithless, but we understand how much someone can digest. Sometimes our preaching will mean, or sharing will mean, just a sweet ball or cookie, Krishna conscious cookie, or something like that. And that's what that's all the person can digest. And sometimes it will mean we give them the whole deal. We tell them about Yamaraj. The problem is, the reason it took me 2 more years to join the Krishna conscious movement is the first thing I heard was about Yamaraj. Yeah, 1969. Not only Yamaraj, it was Kali, a combination of Yamaraj, Kali, and it was me, being tortured by Yamaraj, being short as a dwarf, living underground, eating human flesh, unless I cut all my hair off. So that's, I mean, it's not exactly that I was faithless, but it was improper preaching. So you've got to really understand who you're talking to before you open your mouth. Sacha priya hitam, isn't it? Krishna states in the Gita. Truthfulness, pleasing, beneficial. Think about 3 things before you open your mouth and use your tongue. Very important. And so, and then the last offense generally mentioned is to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name, maintain material attachments. It is not offensive to have material attachments. It is offensive to maintain them and increase them by bad association. Again, Karanam Guna Sangasha set aside. Like this, by Guna Sangha. Because everything in the material world is attached to some sort of guna. Guna means rope, guna means mode of nature. And if you associate with it, it rubs off on you like wet paint. That's the way I like to think of it. Everything has wet paint on it. Every person has wet paint on him. Of course, a devotee has spiritual paint on him. And you come in contact with a devotee, and then you get spiritual paint. But if you come in contact with someone in the mode of ignorance, you, like Prabhupada said, you associate with a drunkard, you become a drunkard. Yes, practical. So, if you want to get rid of material attachments, the only way is to get attached to Krishna. I mean, that's another point too. That so many times devotees think, I have so many narcas, I have so many material attachments, how can I get rid of these material attachments? I said, don't worry about getting rid of them, worry about getting attached to Krishna. And you get attached to Krishna by sadhu sangha, by associating with devotees who shro shragarasya vasudeva gata ruchi shamahasevera punya tirtha shevanat. By hearing from devotees, sound vibration, again the holy name, and hearing the holy name from pure devotees, and hearing Krishna Katha from pure devotees, and serving pure devotees, and serving Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON. By serving ISKCON, another important point that I always have to make is that devotees are taking initiation within the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and they're serving Prabhupada by doing that. You know, whatever I am, it's because I'm connected to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. And all of us within the Krishna Conscious movement are all of Prabhupada's family, regardless of who we're initiated by. So we do not want any sort of discrimination, canvassing, or anything like that. Everyone is a brother, sister, cousin, aunt, just like in a village. Like if some of you were raised in Indian villages, that you know your brothers may not have any blood relationship with you. Just like sometimes, you know, at the beginning of the movement, I didn't know that, and I met someone from India, and they said, here's my brother, here's my brother, here's my sister. Wow, what a big family. How did your mother have so many babies? Yeah. And they explained, they grew up in the village. So ISKCON is a global village. ISKCON is United Nations of the spiritual world, right? And so we're all part of the same family. He said, no, there's no discrimination. Your father, my father, whatever. So basically, I don't want to see any of that sort of discrimination. It's really important. Doesn't matter, because we're all serving together, serving Srila Prabhupada. So anyway, so we have good association, we serve Prabhupada, and then we make spiritual advancement. And then all these different anarthas, they disappear. When I become enthusiastic to serve Krishna, my lust in the material world dissipates. When I become enthusiastic to cook nice food for Krishna, bhoga for Krishna, and offer it to Krishna, then my desire to satisfy my tongue goes away. Wow. I mean, whatever desire you have. Like someone may be a young man, he's attracted to young girls. He should think, all these young girls should serve Krishna instead of me. Right? So therefore, how can you possess anything? Ishvara. Krishna's the supreme controller. Ishavasham idam sarvam yatkaja jakajam jagat janajikatena punjara madhvita ashishvidyanam. Krishna's the owner and controller of everything. Everything's meant for his pleasure. And even your talents, the ability in man, the strength of the strong, it's all just Krishna's lent it to you. It belongs to him. Whatever ability you have, Krishna's just lending it to you. And if you're not humble, Krishna will just take it away. One day you're going to be trying to give class and just, good. You won't be able to speak. Or doing a fire sacrifice. What's that mantra? Om, apavach, cha. So Krishna will just, and of course one day you'll get old, regardless of whether you're a Christian or not, unfortunately. Krishna gives and he takes. Like Prabhupada said, Krishna has 10 arms, 10 hands. He can give you things, and you can't keep from getting it. And then once Krishna wants to take it away, Shyam and Agrinami, Horishe, Tatanam Shanai, he'll do it. So, it's really important to understand that. So anyway, if we have that consciousness, then all these desires, anarthas and everything will dissipate. And then you'll be hungry. Not hungry, but sorry. You'll be happy because your mind won't be agitated. Bhukti mukti siddhikam sakaleya shanta. Krishna bhakti nishkam ataiva shanta. Again, happy. Krishna bhakti nishkam ataiva shanta. Because without being peaceful, you won't be happy. So, and then finally, Bhaktivinoda Thakur states that inattentive chanting is like an overriding offense. And to become attentive, that's the second part of chanting, the class. Previously it's just their introduction. So, to become attentive, of course I did mention about the beads. Please try to chant on Tulsi beads. Now I understand sometimes there's extenuating circumstances. You're at work and you pull your beads out like that and go like that. But whatever. I mean, one time I was flying in the airplane and I was chanting on the beads, and the stewardess didn't understand what was happening. She thought I was in complete anxiety. And so she comes over to me and says, "Sir, it'll be all right." She would assure me that the plane was okay. So, because I was, it looks kind of weird. So to be attentive, as far as possible, we chant on the beads, and we not only use the beads to count with, but we use the beads to feel with. It's really interesting. You can put your mind on the attention of the beads, and feel it, and it's really spiritual. Anyway, enough of that. So another point about becoming attentive, actually several points, is that it's good to have a sankalpa. Like before this fire sacrifice, you probably did a sankalpa, which means, what you're doing, and why you're doing it, what you're doing. And so to think, why am I chanting? Like we started this whole discussion, why should I become Krishna conscious? So we should question ourselves every day. Even, if you go to work in a mundane place, why am I working? Why am I doing this? Well, usually to support your family and to give something to the Krishna conscious movement. But also in every company, there's a mission statement, right? It means why, or what is the purpose of this company? It's like that. And so, why am I chanting? What do I want from, as they say, professional speakers will always talk about something called a whiffin. Anyone's heard of a whiffin before? What's in it for me? So what's in it for me? Why am I chanting? What do I get out of this? Well, prasadam. I get to be guru. People pay my fees. I get to eat anything I want. People clean my clothes every day. Anyway, that should not be your motive. Your motive is something connected. And of course, it says in the Bhagavatam, Kama Sarva Kama Moksha Karma Dharati, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusham Param, that even if you're like Dhruva Maharaj, use that as an impetus, wanting a kingdom greater than that of Lord Brahma, or wanting a business better than Elon Musk. So, that didn't go over too well. No, not here. So anyway, even if you have all these free of material desires, full of material desires, or desires of liberation, then whatever your motive is, but better it's like, Krishna, I'm your eternal servant. Please take me, weeping and weeping to your lotus feet, like that. That's the best thing. But if you don't do that, at least be honest with yourself and honest with Krishna. Don't be dishonest and think, I just want to be a pure devotee. No, that's not true. You have so many desires. Anyway, so be honest, you have so many desires. Krishna, I want to free myself of these desires because they're really harassing me and causing me pain and causing me anxiety. However, I'm honest, you just reveal it to Krishna, you reveal your mind. And Krishna, help me. Ainanda, Tanuja Kinkaram, Patita Mam Vishme Brahman Buddho, Kripaya Tavapada Pankaja, Stita Duli, Sadrasam Vachintiyar. O son of Nanda Maharaj, I'm your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I fall into this horrible ocean of birth and death. Actually, the real translation is horrible ocean of birth and death. Please fix me up, place me as one of the atoms or specks of dust at your lotus feet. You beg for that. So, anyway, that should be, we should go into the chanting every day with that mood. Not simply, I want to hear the mantra. We do want to hear it. But why do I want to hear it? Without the why factor, there's no impetus. It's just like, it's almost like niyam agraha. Doing your devotional service without the right intention or ritualistically. Or putting yourself on automatic. Like Prabhupada, Prabhupada didn't say this. Prabhupada said one time he was chanting just to show the devotees what not to do. He moved down his final counter beat and he said, finish my rounds, now I can do any damn thing. And another devotee one time said, wake me up when my job is done. So we don't want to have that mentality. So sankalpa, remember that. Sankalpa, very, very important. And in order to help us develop the proper sankalpa, we should regularly study Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Shikshashtaka prayers, from the beginning to the end. And of course, if you study the Shikshashtaka prayers, especially reading the commentaries by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you'll see that the Shikshashtaka prayers are hierarchical. They bring someone from the initial stage of bhakti, which is sadhu sangota, the adho shraddha, sadhu sangota, all the way up to prema, from one to another. And anyway, the analysis of the Shikshashtaka prayers is quite interesting because also the acharyas, they connect each Shikshashtaka prayer with a different time even of Krishna's day in the Ashtakaliya Leela, or even a different time in Lord Chaitanya's Ashtakaliya Leela. So it's really interesting that Anyway, I know it's a little elevated. The Bhaktivinoda Thakur and also Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talk about this. But the Shikshastika prayers are very special. They're special prayers given to us directly by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in order to chant the holy name of the Lord. And you can also read the final chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which Srila Prabhupada gives a wonderful translation of the Shikshastika prayers in relationship to the mood that Srimati Radharani has to Krishna. Okay, so that's how you become attentive. And if you do all that, very quickly you become Krishna conscious, very quickly you'll become happy, and very quickly you'll be able to act as a touchstone to help others and fulfill Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order, Amaya Gai Guru Hori Tora E Desh. In other words, become at least an instructing guru, help others. Because if you want special mercy, okay, here's the special, accelerated, fast path. You help others come to Krishna consciousness. And in order to do that, you have to be empowered. You have to be a touchstone. You have to be compassionate. And once you're compassionate, a touchstone, like the reason I joined the Krishna consciousness movement after being burnt out by the devotees, I mentioned in 1969, the devotees told me basically Yamaraj was coming to get me. But the reason I joined is because I met Prabhupada. I saw Prabhupada. I recognized Prabhupada as my guru. Immediately, people talk about love at first sight. But this was spiritual love. Actually, at first hearing on the radio. But when I saw Prabhupada, that's it. And then I did something that I didn't want to do. I shaved my head. Because, I definitely look like Satya Sai Baba before. With a beard. Worse. So, anyway, but I didn't. I was attached. In those days, 1960s, hair was just like, there were even musicals about hair. And so, because I came in contact with, so you become a touchstone, and you can do the same thing. People come in contact with you and they'll think, who was that man? Who was that lady? Wow. And they'll remember you for their whole lives. Even they may not become Krishna conscious that lifetime. They'll remember you. You've given them the bhakti lata. You started their path of devotional service. Do that, and Krishna puts you on the accelerated path to become Krishna conscious. The preliminary stuff, which I mentioned, actually 3 varieties of preliminary stuff. One is the sub-religious principles, ethical principles, and then after that, sadhana bhakti, which I talked about with the offenses on chanting and the chanting and the intention, chanting, using tulsi beads, everything, just giving a summary of what I said. And then consciousness. And then Krishna says, no one is more dear to me than he or she who teaches this Bhagavad Gita to the devotees. So, okay, and then just one final note. I know you're all waiting. So, one final note is that we have 2 devotees who are taking second initiation here. And the second initiation means basically Brahman initiation, but what does that mean? Because we understand Ahobata Swapachato Garyani Yadubhagre Bhartate Namatu Vyamne Pushtapush Juhuba Shashna Aryana Brahmanuchanama Granantiyate. That actually by chanting Hare Krishna one comes to the stage of being a Brahmin and is already understood to have performed all the secondary preliminary activities like all the Vedic mantras and sacrifices. But this particular type of Brahminical initiation indicates that someone, first of all, they get the Gayatri mantras and they get the Brahman thread and everything like that, but apart from that, they're being specifically asked or required to cultivate motive goodness more and more and more. And these motive goodness qualities are listed in the Bhagavad Gita by Krishna. Samagamak tabakshaucham shanti raju mevacha gyanam diganam astigyam brahma karma svabhavajam. Being equipoised, happiness and distress, sense-controlled, self-controlled, accepting what's favorable for Krishna consciousness. That's the first two items of Sharanagati are accepting what's favorable, rejecting what's unfavorable. Cleanliness. All devotees should strive to be revolutionary clean. Very important. Physically, bodily, their house, and then internally the heart. That's very important. Yaksparet Pundurikaksha, Vilaya Gantara, Shuchi, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu. And so, and then tolerant, honest, religious. Again, the sub-religious principles are even there. It's interesting, isn't it? Honesty, studying Shastra, practice what you preach, practice what you read. All these things are there. And a Brahmin specifically is allowed to directly do deity worship in altars. And the Brahmin is considered more or less like to use a Western analogy, a minister or priest. You take second initiation before you exhibit Brahminical qualities. Don't say, I just have first initiation, so I don't have to be clean or honest or anything like that. It doesn't work like that. Everyone should be clean, honest, tolerant. Don't yell at your children. People ask me this sometimes. That should we yell at our children when they do something? No. But tolerance doesn't mean, hey, it's good you did something bad. Tolerance means you take the time and sit down with someone lovingly and explain how they can be better. That's what loving relationships are. Not that you just blast someone, or especially husbands and wives, they blast each other regularly. Someone said jive? That was Ananda voice. No, I mean, kindness. Nobody changes their behavior by being blasted. It doesn't. People become traumatized, people become rebellious. Kindness. We deal with people in kindness. So everyone, whether you're Brahmin or not a Brahmin, be kind. That's another sub-religious principle, but also it's pleasing to Krishna. We're kind. We see Krishna in everyone's heart. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmana ivanu pashati sarvabhuteshu chatmanam tatogna bigagupshate. Krishna's in everyone's heart. Think when you're talking to someone, I'm talking to Krishna in their heart. Their body is a temple of God, even though they don't have the tilak, that we mark our body as a temple of God. But their body is already a temple of God because God is in the heart. And when I used to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books a lot, I would always think like that when I was talking to someone. Krishna, please, Krishna in their heart, make them take a book. Change their mind. And it worked. And you deal with everybody, and again, everybody's your friend, relative. And when you see someone, they will reciprocate with you like that. One of my dear godbrothers does that in Vaisheshika Prabhu, who's probably one of our best book distributors in ISKCON. I went on Sankirtan with him, and he would just wave to someone who was 100 meters away. And they said, oh, there's my best friend. They would run up and take a book. They'd be driving a car on the motorway, and they'd stop their car, basically. Because of that compassion. That's the hallmark of a devotee. Okay, on that happy note, I think we will continue. So now we can give out the names, I guess. All right. So, I will call the devotees, in order. Okay, and the process is that first, as the devotees come up, they should offer their obeisances to Prabhupada and the deities. We do have a picture of Prabhupada there? Okay. Oh yeah, we have a deity of Prabhupada. Offer your obeisance to Krishna, to Krishna and Srila Prabhupada, or Prabhupada and Krishna. And then you come up and you're going to take your vows of chanting 16 rounds, following the 4 regulative principles. And then you will take this vow in front of the deities, in front of Prabhupada, in front of myself, in front of all the other Vaishnavas, and stick to your vows. Whenever we make a promise, we should stick to it. If you're not ready to make a promise, then don't make a promise and don't make a initiation. I made the promise to Srila Prabhupada in, how many years ago? Oh my God. In 1971. And there's never been a day when I didn't complete my rounds. And some days I was sick. Some days I had operations. I always completed the rounds, even sometimes if I had to be lying on my back chanting, because I understood this is my first priority in life. More important than eating, important than sleeping, you're chanting. And the only time you don't have to is if you're in a coma. But then, if you're going to be in a coma, you just text me. And I'll give you a dispensation. So, all right, so in this order, actually, I'll read 3 people at once. Nagesh Mishra, Jyoti Mishra, and Mona Swarupa. Mona Swarupa. Okay, first is Nagesh. You know, 2 groups of obeisances. It's okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Nagesh, what are the 4 regular principles?
No meat eating,
No meat eating.
no illicit sex, no intoxication, and no I'm very tense today.
No, that's okay. Some people forget everything at the time of initiation. So you get the beads with your right hand. Your name now is Nischincha Das. Because chincha means to be in anxiety. So Nischincha means to have no anxiety because you're Krishna conscious. It's a devotee, Nischincha. And Prabhupada also gave that name too to different devotees. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, Jyoti. Okay. So, what are the 4 regulative principles?
No meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication.
Good. How many rounds have you?
16.
16 rounds. Well, you can chant more on Ekadasi if you want. So that's right. Stand up, sit down. You know, I'm all the way down here, so it's usually, they gave me a really high seat so I feel better about myself. So you get these with your right hand, and your name now. So I have a whole group of names. What I do is I have a whole group of potential names, and when I see the person, I actually ask Krishna which name it is. So okay. So your name now is Jagat Ishvari. Means a servant. Shrimati Radharani, actually. Okay, Mona is next. Okay. Okay, another mala. Okay, so what are the 4 regular principles?
No meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling.
That's good. And how many rounds every day?
16
Rounds without fail. And if you'd like, you can chant more in Ekadasi. So your name now, it's actually a very special name, beads with your right hand, is Mandakini Ganges. Some people pronounce it Mandakini. You can pronounce it Mandakini or Mandakini. The actual pronunciation is Mandakini. But anyway, so it's the celestial Ganges. So it's the name of Ganga, who is in the heavenly planets. Okay? So the next three are Divyesh Singh, Srishti, Satpokota, and Raju Kandel. Okay? Okay. Okay. Oh. Put that. Okay, so what are the four regulated principles?
No meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, illicit sex.
Okay. And how many rounds did you chant?
16 and 17 on Ekadasi.
17 out of 5. Well, it's better than nothing.
I'll make sure to do more.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, I said more on Ekadasi 17. You know,
I'm terribly sorry.
no, that's very good. All right. So your name now is, you got these with the right hand, Devananda. Okay. 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 We missed one. He's first. Okay. If you go out of line, maybe you'll get a lady's name instead of a man's name. So it's a little dangerous. Okay, so you get closer. So what are the four regulated principles?
Four regulated principles are no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication.
Very good.
And I will be doing 60 rounds of every day.
That's good.
I love to commit it. I love to commit myself in front of the
All right. Okay, good.
And
Yeah.
I'll
Saves
be
me
doing,
some time.
and I'll be doing extra rounds of Annika.
If you can, yeah.
Gurudev.
Yeah, it's not an absolute requirement. Okay, so you get the beads with your right hand. Now is Shravaniya Devi Dasi. Okay, next. Okay. So finally you're taking initiation.
Yeah.
It's been a long road.
Yes. I was keep working with it.
Finally, my turn is here now.
Finally, yeah, yes. All the trials and tribulations. So what are the four regulated principles?
No meditating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication.
Okay, and how many rounds every day?
I do 16 and I do 5 extra.
Yeah, I kind of whatever you can do. I don't ask the devotees to take any vow more. When I have extra time and not doing anything, which is very rare nowadays, I chant more in Ekadasi. Because that's the standard. But I'm not saying everybody should. You got to be really free and not have any other responsibilities that day. So your name now, you get the beads with your right hand, is Rama Gopal Das. Rama Gopal ki jai. Okay. Not Robin. I said Rama. So, anyway, next is Kamal Dutt, Romila Sharma, and Ananda Dutt. Arnold. Okay. A lot of malas here. Okay. So, what are the four regular principles?
No illicit sex, no eating, no gambling, no intoxication.
And how many rounds every day?
16 normally I do 32.
Oh, you do 32, so?
Yep.
And it counts?
Yep.
Wow.
Viva.
Haribo. Fantastic. So, let me figure out what your name is. What?
Come on.
No, I know that. Your spiritual name. I know your name is Kamal. I'm not that old yet. So I'm trying to figure out which name. I have about 6 names here. Which name fits you? Okay. So you chant more rounds than a Ekadasi. Okay. So your name now, you get the beads with your right hand, is Kashyapa Das. Okay, and next is Robila. Okay, thank you. Another mala. In Fiji, they give so much it goes up to here. It's too much. So, what are the four regulating principles?
No meat eating, no fish or eggs, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling.
No gambling. And so, what are the four regulating principles? I mean, how many rounds do you chant?
16 to 20. 16 to 20.
16 to 20. Wow. Another winner here. So, yeah. So your name, you get the beads with the right hand, is Rangavati Devidasi. Rangavati Devidasi Pujai. And Anand Dutt. Okay. All right. Getting too much. Was more coming? Uh-oh. So I'll start giving them out in a second. So what are the four regulating principles?
No illicit sex, no gambling, no meat eating, no intoxication.
Okay.
16 minimum.
Minimum of 16. If you can chant more in the Ekadasi, it's good. So you get the beads with your right hand. Your name now is Ananda Vilas Das. Pastimes of the Lord. Okay. Ananda Vilas. That means, Ananda, unlimited, ecstatic, names of the Lord. Leela of the Lord. So, what are the regular principles?
No intoxications, no illicit sex, no gambling, no meat eating.
Yeah, I know you're following already. No eating. And what about other things like fish? Gangafal? Everyone knows what Gangafal is? It means the fruit of the Ganges. Like we go to Bengal. You didn't know that? Did you know that? Like if you go to Bengal, they'll say they consider that to be vegetarian. The fruit of the Ganges. It's not fruit. So, just to. So how many rounds do you chant every day? 16. Well, whatever you can more. So your name now is, wow, it's a nice name. The beads with your right hand. Pavana Dev. So, actually, Pavana is the wind god. And he's in one sense, he's the father of Hanuman. Lord Shiva is, Pavana is, and Ishvara is. That's three brothers. Pretty good. And the story, for those of you who don't know, from the Ramayana. Okay. I'm just going to tell a story. The story from the Ramayana is that Lord Shiva and Parvati wanted an embryo transplant. So Pavana to Anjani, and she gave birth to Hanuman. And because she was actually from the heavenly planets, as soon as Hanuman took birth, she left him. Not such a good mother, but anyway, she left her poor son. But he had a lot to eat, like the sun. That's another story. Okay, so this is the final one. So what are the four regulative principles?
No meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxications, and no gambling.
No gambling. How many rounds every day? 16 without fail. And if you can, chant more on the Kadashi, that's good. So, wow, what a nice name. So your name now is Achintya Shakti. That means the inconceivable energy. This is the name of Radharani, obviously, Achintya Shakti. So, and then finally, I take off all the mala. Oops. And finally, we have the devotees taking second initiation, Gaura Lila in Sarvasiddhi. And they will come up, and I will give Sarvasiddhi the Brahman thread. And the thread doesn't mean that you're Brahman. Like Brahman thread, and they don't have the qualities of Brahman. You can call them, what? Sacred thread holder. So we don't want any sacred thread holders. We want real Brahmanas. Let's see if I can untangle this. All right, we got this. Should be one more. Uh-oh.
Typical Brahmin problem.
Anyway. Maybe if I chant a little, it'll come out all right. Almost. Anyway. You want to help with that? Okay, let me get your mala first. Well,
This was made by Avni.
made by Agni.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is. Talk about the sun. Yeah. Like the sun god. You got it? Well, you are expert. You're a real Brahmin. May Krishna shower you with blessings. Wow. You should come every time you do initiation. Okay, you got to take off the top piece there. Okay. Head, right. Okay, that's it. Jai Haribol. Ladies don't get Brahmin threads. The reason for that is that Men need it because they're not humble like ladies are. Men need to show off. I'm a Brahmin, but ladies are real devotees. Actually, if you look at some of the old temples in India, some of them depict ladies with Brahma threads on. Really old temples. But we don't, in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, it's not necessary. I mean, the Brahman thread does not make the Brahman, it's the qualities. That's the important thing. You know, so many ritualistic Brahmanas in India just don't mean anything. Okay, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So now we can proceed with the fireside blessing. Thank you all for tolerating it. Okay, what's that? Want one? Okay.
I call
I need something to put under here.
Yeah, okay. Can I put this one under?
That's too big. Oh, yeah, it's all right. Yes, yeah, it should be all right. Yeah, it's not blocking the camera. It's all right.
Hare Krishna. We are now going to recite Swasti Vachana to invoke auspiciousness. Ata Swasti Vachana. Om Punantu Madeva Janaha Punantu Manasa Diyaha Punantu Vishwaha Bhutani Jataveda Punihima Om Asya Karmana Punyaham Bhavantu Bhravantu Om Punyaham Om Punyaham Om Punyaham Om Uddhateva Shatune Samagayasi Brahmaputra Iva Savaneshu Shamshashi Vrishev Vajirshi Shumatir Apityaha Sarvato Nashakune Bhadramavada Vishvato Nashakune Punyamavada Om Asya Karmana Swasti Bhavantu Bhavantu Ayushmate Swasti Om Swasti Om Swasti Om Swasti Om Swasti No Indro Vridrashavaha Swasti No Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti No Taksho Rishtanemihi Swasti No Brihaspate Dadatu Om Asya Karmano Riddhim Bhavantu Bhavantu Om Ridyatam Om Ridyatam Om Ridyatam Om Ridyamastoham Saniyam Vajamano Mantram Sarate Hopayatam Yasho Napakshum Madhu Goshvantara Bhutam Sho Ashvino Kamamapraha Om Swasti No Govindaha Swasti No Achyutanando Swasti No Vasudevo Vishnur Dadatu Swasti No Narayano Narovai Swasti No Padmanabha Purushottamo Dadatu Swasti No Visvaksheno Vishveshwaraha Swasti No Rishikesho Harir Dadatu Swasti No Vainateyo Harihi Swasti No Anjanasuto Hanur Bhagavato Dadatu Swasti Swasti Samangalaikesho Mahan Shri Krishna Sachidananda Ganaha Sarveshwareshwaroho Dadatu Ata Sankalpa Om Govinda 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 Om Tatsadadya Brahmano Dvitiya Pararde Shri Shvetavaraha Kalpe Vaivashakakya Manvantare Astavimshati Kaliyugasya प्रथम संध्यायां ब्रह्मणो विंशति वर्तमानायां मधुसूदनमासे कृष्णपक्षे त्रयोदशी तिथौ भूमण्डले जम्बुद्वीपे भारतवर्षे अर्थकाण्डे मेदिता सुमेरो दक्षिणे लवणार्णवयोत्तरे कोणगंगा पूर्वभागे श्री सिग्निशहरे ऑस्ट्रेलिया देशे श्री विग्रह ब्राह्मण वैष्णववाणी सन्निधौ श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ प्रियार्थम अस्मिन् शुभ दिवसे महावैष्णव होमं वयं करिष्यामहे। ओम तद्विष्णु परमं पदं सदा पश्यन्ति सूरयः दिवि चक्षुराततं तद्विप्रशो विपिन्यो जगर्वंश समिन्दते विष्णुर्यत् परमं पदम्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Hare Krishna. Now we are going to install the fire and then we'll start offering oblations for all our Vaishnava Acharyas.
Pintu Pak. Hare Krishna. We are going to offer oblations to all our Vaishnava Acharyas. Please repeat the mantras. We'll be doing oblation 3 times for every Acharya. So every time you hear Swaha, please throw the grains. Don't touch the grains with your forefinger. The other remaining fingers are okay. So you can throw it like that. Atha Vaishnava Homam. Om. Please repeat. Om. Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Akshu Unnilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Swaha Swaha Swaha. Om Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Swaha Swaha Swaha. Om Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru
अग्रजातं सहगणितं तं कृष्ण चैतन्य कृष्ण उत्तले श्रीमते कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान दायिने प्रभवे नमः ज्वला श्री दुर्गा भक्तिदा श्री करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते स्वाहा 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 नमस्ते
How'd it go? Good to see you. How's it good? Fine, how are you? Good to see you. What?
The baby is due in 3 weeks.
Oh, congratulations.
How's your health?
Health is very good.
Good to see you, Gurudev, after a long time.
Okay, we're going to see you this trip. We'll see you again this trip.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll see you on the program.
Okay, good. Please come.
विठ्ठलम्बा रसाम्बोधे पादाम्बुजाय ते नमः स्वाहा 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 ॐ नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्द
You're doing okay now?
गौरशक्ति
You're doing well. Good.
स्वरूपाय
Very nice.
रूपानुगा वरायते स्वाहा 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 ॐ गौराविर्भाव भूमिस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सज्जनप्रियः वैष्णव सार्वभौमा श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः स्वाहा 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 ॐ वाञ्छा कल्पतरु वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः कृष्ण प्रेम कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य स्वाहा स्वाहा ओम पंचतत्वात्मकं भक्तरूपा स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं स्वाहा 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 ओम हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधाकांता नमोस्तुते स्वाहा 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 ओम जयतां सुरतो अंगो मम मंद मतिर्गते मत्सर्वस्व पदाम्बोजो राधा मदन मोहन स्वाहा 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 ओम दिव्य वृंदारण्य कल्पद्रुमदा श्रीमद रत्नागरा सिंहासनस्थो श्रीमद राधा शील गोविंद देवो प्रस्थालिभिः सेव्यमानो स्वरामि स्वाहा 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 ओम श्रीमान रासरसारंभे वंशीवटा तस्थितः कर्षङ्गेनो स्वनैर्गोपी गोपीनाथा श्रियेस्तु नः स्वाहा 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 ओम तप्तकाञ्चन देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये स्वाहा 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 ओम जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा स्वाहा 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 ओम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे स्वाहा 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 ओम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे स्वाहा 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 ओम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम
Nice to see you too.
हरे हरे
Very good.
स्वाहा
My parents are also here. Oh, good. Nice to meet you.
May we request everyone to please pick up the banana alone in your hand, keep the plate down, just to pick up the banana in your hand and stand up.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Blessings. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for nice words. Thank you for nice words. Oh, good. Very good.
Preaching in 2 different languages, Bengali as well as Hindi.
Oh, good. Good. Very good.
Good stuff.
Hare Krishna.
This is from Rajesh and Hara, Melbourne.
Yeah, right.
And the food is I will put in the...
How long may the request to everyone for the initiation can place the second mom
You and your wife are leaving tomorrow, right?
Fire 4 times. You can do loud get the knock. Hare
Well, you can come to the program